But I wanted to ask two questions. Number one, on conditioning U.S. aid to Egypt, and number two, on the prospects of improved relations or deterioration of relations with Israel. Would you agree that our leverage to be credible, we cannot simply grant financial aid to Egypt until Morsi's Muslim Brotherhood-led government meets certain conditions that cannot and must not be waived? And do you support conditioning our U.S. aid to Egypt until it recognizes certain conditions, its citizens' human rights, religious minority rights, protects law and order, cracks down on illicit activities in the Sinai, et cetera? And secondly, on relations with Israel, how do you see Egypt-Israel relations in this coming year, and with the elections that Egypt is going to be holding in the near future? Do you think that this will be good for Israel, the kind of language to be used? Is it a bargaining chip in all of the political debate, et cetera? We'll begin with the Honorable Elliott Abrams.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Those are very difficult questions. On the question of relations with Israel, Morsi has been careful. For example, within the last few weeks, Hamas made another request to open an office in Cairo, and the government of Egypt said no. And you've seen the reports about the flooding of those Sinai smuggling tunnels with water and with sewage. So those are two things we care a good deal about. Those tunnels are how those arms get into Gaza. The government of Egypt seems to be doing a good job, indeed a better job than the Mubarak regime did. So I think Morsi realizes that any trouble with Israel would be devastating, at least economically, in terms of foreign investment, tourism, the IMF. Just on the first part, I want to say I agree with you. I think the conditionality is important. And again, the two go together. If there's no political conditionality, the economic situation...
I want to cut you off because I know you elaborated on that in your statement.
Right.
If I could have the two other witnesses.
Absolutely. Can you hear me now? Sorry about that. I was saying that in 2012, USCIRF did in fact recommend that the United States government should certify progress on protection for religious rights and broader human rights as a condition of disbursement of military assistance. So the position that USCIRF has taken in the recent past has been that there should be some conditionality on aid as a means of exercising leverage. We're still in the process of our deliberations for our upcoming report, so I won't address that specifically, but I will say here under the watchful gaze of my late father that I know that when he was serving in Congress, not only his watchful gaze, but his dog Gigi, so that's a double whammy, you know, I really better behave myself. But he did support a degree of linkage and conditionality, and has always felt that that was a means of leverage. On the issue of relations with Israel, I agree with my colleague Elliott Abrams that Morsi has been careful, but I think the underlying danger, and this is a great fear that I have, is that as this government is unable to deliver on a whole range of promises, you have these huge raised expectations on the part of the Egyptian people that are now slamming into all sorts of disappointment on the economic front, on the political liberty front, on the rights front. And there is, unfortunately, a long history in that region of the world of unifying people.
I want to cut you off a second just so I could have,
of course,
the Tamara speak. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think we have to distinguish first between the military aid and the economic aid. The economic aid, as you know, has been shrinking over the last 10 years or so. And so I think on the economic side, we can be most effective either by putting more money on the table if we think it's a good investment, or more likely by working with others. If you look at the total package of assistance that is waiting on the signing of an IMF loan, it's about $14.5 billion. That is a much more significant lever than what we can provide alone. And so we should work to develop conditions that are shared by the Western governments and the multilateral organizations that are providing this aid.
Thank you. And we'll wait for your Israel answer on another time. My ranking member, Ted Deutsch, is recognized. Thank you.